Have you filed for divorce? Do you want to keep your marital home? This video is for you. Did you know that January has the highest rate of couples filing for divorce? Well, it does. And maybe that's because people don't want to do it right before or during the holidays. Maybe it's because of the holidays. Maybe it's New Year, new me. I don't know, but I have been through this on my own. I have been separated. I did get a divorce, and I had to make some pretty tough decisions around our family home. Hi, I'm Marital Wolf with Compass Real Estate outside of Philadelphia, and I actually decided to become an expert on divorce real estate because of my personal experience with it, and in order to help guide others who are in this situation. This video is for that person who wants to keep the house. You want to buy your spouse out or make the family home part of the assets that go on your side of the property settlement agreement. I am not here to talk you out of that and tell you to list your house with me. But what I am here for is to give you some insight that might save you a lot of grief down the road. In times of stress and duress, people are generally not thinking straight. So please keep these 3 tips in mind if you want to take sole ownership of the family home as part of your property settlement agreement. Okay, before you do anything, please keep your legal representation in the loop with what you're doing and what you're planning. That's critical. It's also very important to take these steps before a PSA or property settlement agreement has been signed. And I'm going to give you the bottom line up front here. Treat this in the same way that you would approach going out and buying a house. It's simple. Okay, tip number 1. If there is a mortgage on the house, please get pre-approved. Get a pre-approval for yourself as soon as possible. Talk to a lender about getting this done to refi the house in your own name. You don't want to find out after the PSA has been set that you cannot get approved on your own. The lender is basically going to look at the loan-to-value ratio, your credit score, and your debt-to-income ratio. For income, you might think that spousal or child support counts, but there are stipulations around how support can be considered qualified income, and you must figure that out before the property settlement agreement is set in stone, or you're going to have a challenge on your hands that very well may end up with you selling the house that you thought you were going to be able to keep. As an aside, lenders require that you have homeowners insurance as part of the mortgage process, but they don't necessarily care if both you and your soon-to-be ex are both on that policy. You, however, need to care. A policy could be at risk of being voidable if the names on it don't match the name that's on the title. So call your insurance agent and either make sure that you are the named insured or get a new policy naming just you as the insured. And if you are getting a new policy, you and your spouse might be getting a refund on any kind of prepayment that was made on that old policy. So find that out and maybe splitting that refund up as part of your PSA. Tip number 2, run a title report on your home as soon as possible. Whether or not you're refinancing the house, maybe you own it outright and you're not refining, but you still need to have that title report. Actually, you only need part of the title report at this stage, and that's the part that's going to list whether there's any secrets that are hiding on that title, so any liens or judgments on the home. So you want to ask the title company to run what's called an M&J, and that's short for mortgage and judgment. And it's a report on the house that's going to show if any creditors have attached a lien or a judgment on your home due to your spouse not paying their taxes, not paying credit cards, getting in over their heads at a casino. By the way, it's going to show if you've done that too. But it's imperative to understand this prior to finalizing the property settlement agreement. Running an M&J report is not going to cost very much money at all, but it can really, really pay off getting that done early in the process so you know what is actually going to be owed on the house at the time of transfer of ownership. Tip number 3, get a home inspection. You might think that you know what's going on with that house, but if your spouse is buying you out and that buyout number is based on the value that a realtor has given you or an appraiser's report, that's not necessarily going to factor in the cash money dollar amounts that might be needed to replace or repair a major system. Treat this as the transaction that it actually is, even though you've been living in the house for however many years. You don't want to accept a number and then turn around and find out that, I don't know, your septic system needs a new field, or that there are very high levels of radon in the house, or there's mold in the attic. Factor these costs into your buyout number. And if you're in the greater Philadelphia area, I can absolutely refer you to some excellent inspectors. So, if you're going through the divorce process and the disposition of your marital property, otherwise known as selling the house, I just want you to know that I've been through it too. And there is a lot to think about. I hope that these 3 tips are helpful to you in that process. But remember one of the first things that I said, always keep your legal representation, your attorney or your mediator, as part of that conversation. I hope this helps.